Hello, everybody. Paulie is live streaming during the morning. Am I dreaming? New survivor. Yeah, but we don't know who it is. Crazy. This is crazy. We got this teaser. I don't know what the devs are doing. I don't know what they're doing differently, but they have definitely taken control of the amount of information that is getting out there, and it's pretty wonderful. Like, this is crazy that we're going into tomorrow. I mean, now I'm going to say that, and it's going to get leaked in the next 5 minutes or something. That flashlight looks like a lot like what Hopper uses. I mean, it is a mag light like a police officer would use. I agree with you there. The pieces of paper, you have to take in the evidence and the things that we can see. And you can see like dust particles in the air is very Stranger Things like from being in the Upside Down. I definitely agree with you on that. The pieces of paper would lean towards Alan Wake. I could kind of go either way on this right now. The dust particles floating in the air is very Stranger Things Upside Down, like, I'll give you that. But the pieces of paper would lead me towards, if I have to pick something, I would say Alan Wake between the two right now. But don't get me wrong, I would love some Hopper. All right, so Dead by Daylight put this out today. First dev update of the year is here with generator updates, Hillbilly's new chainsaw, Onryo update, the FOV Slider, and more. And I thought the more was going to be the Survivor. January developer update. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all you, by the way. Our team is back in action, and we've got a doozy of a developer update in store for you today. In this edition, we'll be covering everything coming to Dead by Daylight in our first major update of the year, from various killer, perk, and map updates and more. We've been busy, so buckle up. It's a long one. Generators. Kicking things off, no pun intended, we have a few updates to generators. More specifically, these changes target how generators are damaged by the killer and how their regression can be stopped by survivors. The goal with this update is to bring an end to excessively long matches, 3 generator scenarios in particular, and at the same time improve the killer's ability to damage generators. 3 gen scenarios are those where the killer aims to defend 3 generators that are close by in particular and does not participate in normal gameplay, not chasing the survivors, etc. In this instance, survivors are not able to make any meaningful progress to those 3 generators. So going forward, each generator can only suffer from a maximum of 8 regression events. I saw some people complaining about this, but I think that's a lot. Where a regression event is any time the killer or their perks removes at least 2.5% of the generator's progress in an instant. An indicator will show the killer if a generator can no longer be damaged. I wonder what that's going to look like. In the overwhelming majority of games, this will not come into play. However, in scenarios where the killer is defending a set of generators and refuses to chase survivors, they will eventually come to a point where they can no longer damage the generator, helping bring an end to excessively long matches. At the same time, we want to address a point of frustration for killers as well. Survivors working on a generator briefly to stop it from regressing, or gen tapping for short. Given that the number of regression events is now limited, stopping a generator from regressing is more meaningful than ever. To prevent survivors from tapping a gen to negate one of those regression events, we have made 2 changes. The base damage from kicking a generator has been increased to 5%, up from 2.5%. Good golly. Remember when killers couldn't kick gens? Well, we're going back to that, but only after they kicked the gen 8 times. At least 5% of the generator's total charges must be repaired to stop regression. Otherwise, it will begin regressing again when the survivor stops repairing. I heard this might make Ruin OP with it. Yeah, because I think there's a Ruin change in here too, where you don't lose Ruin when the first survivor is killed. So, yeah, make Ruin great again. This will help ensure that the killer always gets some value from kicking a generator and encouraging survivors to think twice before attempting to stop the regression. I think this is a net buff for killers, really. I mean, like they said, the majority of games, this isn't even going to come into play with this maximum of 8 events, which would mean, applying jolt slash surge to a gen 8 times, kicking a gen 8 times, eruption, a scourge hook, whatever you want to talk about. 8 of those scenarios on each individual gen would be the max. I don't think that's going to happen a whole lot to a singular gen, and you're going to get more value when you kick, and then the survivor can't, like you see games where even I've done it, where in the middle of the loop you'll tap the gen on the killer just to stop the regression in the middle. Well, you can't do that anymore. I mean, you can tap the gen, but it isn't going to do anything. It's not going to stop regression. I think this is a net positive for killers personally. Beta, what is this? Oh, this is for the FOV slider. So this is going to be an optional thing in the beta tab. You can turn this on or off if you want to. The FOV slider, field of view. Is Shadowborn permanently locked into one of your perk slots? Well, that's about to change thanks to the new first-person field of view slider. Starting with this update, killers in first person will be able to adjust their field of view to something that they're more comfortable with, ranging from 87 degrees, which is the current default, to 103 degrees, the current maximum with Shadowborn. Perks which alter your FOV, Shadowborn, and modern reviews will need to be adjusted. We'll cover exactly how those perks are changing later in this post. Bear in mind, this option only applies to first-person field of view, and therefore will not affect survivors. Since survivors play the game from third-person perspective, a wider field of view would add to an already advantageous camera view. Initially, this feature will be accessible through the beta tab in the game. So this is a net positive for killers too, right? You can adjust this FOV, or if you're somebody who suffers from some nausea effects from the way the game looks, you can narrow it, right? So net positive for killers here. The Onryo. I thought this was going to be a nerf to her, but I'm not so sure. The Onryo, a few months ago, we released a major update to the Onryo. Though some players were pleased with the changes, many longtime Onryo mains felt that her gameplay had changed too much from the killer they once loved. And in this update, we want to revisit Sadako once more to find a middle ground which better appeals to all her players, old and new. For Condemned, in the last update, Condemned would spread to all survivors who were not holding a tape whenever Sadako projected to a TV. This allowed her to spread her curse more often, but many felt that this favored teleporting as soon as possible rather than strategically during a chase. We have a few changes in mind to restore this gameplay while keeping Condemned more prominent. When the Onryo teleports, survivors within 16 meters of a powered TV will receive a stack of Condemned. I didn't realize this, but she was applying, or she is, like right now, in her current version, she's applying a stack of Condemned when she teleports map wide. I didn't know there was no radius. It's the whole map. That's a lot. So, 16 meters. You should still be able to get some survivors because the TVs are near generators, so, you're probably going to get somebody. I didn't know. No, I didn't know it was the whole map, Skylar. I thought it was within a range. I didn't realize it was map wide. That's a lot. The teleport cooldown has been removed, allowing her to teleport more frequently. Currently, she has to wait 10 seconds for her power to recharge. So imagine just teleporting. Now, I guess I was going to say teleport in the same TV, but it's going off when you teleport into it, right? That won't work. When a survivor is hooked, their current Condemned progress becomes locked in. That's scary to me, preventing it from being removed. So, you don't have to worry about, as an Onryo, you don't have to be like, well, I don't want to hook them and have them lose some of their Condemned, so I'm going to slug them. You just put them on the hook, and then they're still staying in their Condemned and pretty close to getting to the staring contest. No risk of losing Condemned by hooking them. This will make it risky for survivors to ignore. What does Condemned do? So Condemned is like in the ring when you get to 7 days, and then she can just take you out, right? She can just kill you outright. staring contest, the ultimate staring contest that you're going to lose. This will make it very risky for survivors to ignore Sadako's curse. Survivors will want to shut off nearby TVs and deposit their tapes before it's too late. Yeah, you definitely want to have some TVs shut off because you don't want her coming over here and applying that condemn to you if you can't get rid of it on hook or easily. Speaking of not being able to remove the condemn stacks easily, we've also reviewed the ways that cursed tapes work to bring back some of their fondly remembered behavior. Cursed tapes no longer protect survivors from getting condemned. So previously, if you had a tape in your hand and she hit you, you wouldn't get any more stacks of condemned and the tape would be destroyed. Now she hits you, you're going to get some condemned. But the good news is the tape is no longer destroyed. Cursed tapes are no longer destroyed or inflict condemned when a survivor's hit. Cursed tapes can only be deposited in the further TV from where they were picked up. So that is the thing here that is like, whoa, that is going to make it hard. Kind of like Freddy, right? When you fall asleep, you got to get across map. My question here is, if I have some condemned, am I going to be able to see the auras of TVs like before I go fully condemned? Because that's a problem for me. I don't like not being able to see where the TVs are until I'm condemned. Well, I would like to see the auras of the TVs. This will once again force survivors to spend some time crossing the map in order to delay the curse. Like cross map, some of these maps get all the way across map to put in your tape is, yeah. They should let you see all the TVs no matter how far. Or, you know, I don't need to see map wide. Just show me what's around me, you know? Demanifested. The previous update made it so the Onryo couldn't start a chase while demanifested. This had a side effect in making it very obvious when she demanifested in the middle of a chase, allowing survivors to anticipate and play around it. The Onryo can now chase survivors while demanifested. Additionally, many pointed out that one of the Onryo's changed add-ons, Reiko's Watch, was very fun to use. Rather than add the effect back into the add-on, we instead incorporated it into her base kit to make the add-on feel less essential. The duration of invisibility while demanifested has been increased to 1.2 seconds, up from 1 second. And with all these changes in mind, we reviewed a handful of the Onryo's add-ons, which either no longer have a purpose or promoted strongly disliked playstyles. So I think there was actually an add-on that made it so that survivors had to go to a specific TV, but now if it's saying here, it sounds like they're going to have to go to a specific TV anyway. Cursed tapes can only be deposited in the furthest TV from where they were picked up. So they're going to change that add-on. It's kind of like base now. Next, we have the Hillbilly. Oh, watch out, survivors. It looks like somebody unwrapped a brand new chainsaw. It's the Hillbilly's turn for an update. People are really looking forward to this. Overdrive, the controversial overheat. And I am too, honestly, because I like see like one Hillbilly a month. So I want to see more Billy. But don't worry, I'll be crying about how many Billies and how strong he is in the near future, I'm sure. The controversial overheat mechanic is no more. Overdrive is the new talk of the town. As the Hillbilly uses his chainsaw, it will generate heat just like before. When the heat meter is full, not only... It's the King!
Paulie Esther.
Coming in for 55 months. King and I have a bet about the survivor, whose identity, I guess, will be revealed tomorrow. Well, I thought maybe we're going to find out today who won that bet, but it looks like we have to wait a little bit longer. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. When the heat meter is full, not only will he continue to be able to use it, but his chainsaw will kick into overdrive and gain the following effects for the next 20 seconds. Chainsaw charge speed is increased by 5%. His chainsaw sprint movement speed is increased to 13 meters per second. How fast does he move now? Anybody know? How fast are we talking here? How fast is Hillbilly chainsaw sprint? 9.2 meters per second. Wow. Oh my God, that's like 150%. He's going from 9.2 to 13. Oh my God. 13 meters per second? Chainsaw sprint cooldowns are reduced by 10%. The short version heat is good now. Man, we just faced a hillbilly, was that Friday night, Saturday night? That all he did was use the saw, and he was very good at it. That's going to be terrifying. Imagine that guy coming back across map at 13 meters per second. Wow. Good luck dodging those when Tinkerer is active. He's hitting the gym hard. Cleaning up. At the same time, we've made some general improvements to the Hillbilly's kit and smoothed out some of the rougher edges. The base chainsaw sprint movement has been increased by 10%. Oh, so they're increasing it. So he's going to be like about 10%, 10 meters per second base, and then 13 in overdrive. So he's even faster just at base. We've reduced the size of the chainsaw's collision detection to make chainsaw sprints more maneuverable in maps with high density tiles. So he's going to not have the, the hillbilly bump. The camera sensitivity is no longer incorrectly tied to the controller's sensitivity while using a mouse and keyboard. Chainsaw controls are now equal to 100% sensitivity before. I don't know what that means. Hey, Bruce Lee. Loser should do the trouble bubblegum. Guy was out here trying to sentence somebody to death for losing a bet. Trouble bubblegum. Hello, Wicca Boy. And last but certainly not least, we've done a pass-through on the Hillbillies add-ons with these changes in mind. This blog post is long enough as it is, so keep an eye on the patch notes when the public test build goes live for more details. The Blight's add-ons. So everything here has been like a win for killers so far. I don't know, maybe not having condemned applied to you as easily as before by just somebody teleporting over and over is a win for survivors, but I don't know. I think overall this is a win for killers, right? The Blight. Surely for this one, the survivor's going to battle back with all these Blight add-on changes. The Blight add-ons. Next, we have some changes in store for a handful of the Blight's add-ons. I think it's 100% clear that it's Alan Wake. They even used a typewriter font. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Interesting. So if it is Alan Wake, I wonder if we will see that entire video game universe on the table with Jesse from Control. And what was that other guy's name? Jack Joyce from Quantum Break. That'd be cool. Blighted Rat and Blighted Crow. These add-ons are fairly strong, making it far more difficult to get out of the way of his rush in time. We've reduced the rush speed bonus of these add-ons to 2% and 3% respectively. It was 4 and 6, so they've halved the Blight's rush buffs from the Rat and Crow. Adrenaline Vial. This add-on had a lot going on for it, making it a jack of all trades. To simplify it and bring it closer in line with other options, we're removing the following effects. It no longer decreases the time to charge a rush token by 1 second, and it no longer increases rush speed by 10%. The add-on now does the following. These effects are unchanged, so they just took away 2 of the effects. Increases maximum rush tokens by 2, increases maximum rush look angle by 20 degrees, and it decreases the rush turn rate by 55%. So they took away the speed bonus and the time to recharge. Alchemist Ring, the one you probably aren't surprised to see on this list. This one everybody hated, Alchemist Ring. Except for Blight, of course. Restoring rush tokens on hit is incredibly powerful, so we reworked this add-on entirely. It now increases rush duration by 20% for each consecutive rush. Compound 33, reducing the survivor's movement speed, acts very similarly to increasing the Blight's rush speed, so we've decided the best course of action is to give this add-on a new effect. Each consecutive rush, which is longer than 4 meters, increases his turn rate by 33%. Okay. And the Iridescent Blight Tag, this add-on can also be extremely powerful in the right hands. It promotes the awkward gameplay of repeatedly slamming into a wall to take advantage of the effects of the last rush. Yeah, I think we've all seen that. Going, are you okay? And the Blight slamming into the tree like 4 times and he comes flying at you on that last hit. We've given this add-on a brand new effect as well. Enables rush to be performed without spending tokens. Rush bonuses are capped after 3 consecutive rushes. Blighted Corruption goes on cooldown for 20 seconds after a successful lethal rush attack. It's funny they think Blight's base kit doesn't need tweaking. Blight is still going to be annoying if hug tech is still a thing. Yeah, I agree with you there. Good morning, Tweety. Perk updates. All right. Next up, we got a bunch of perk updates to share. Save the best for last. Oh boy, what is happening here? I didn't get this far. This perk indirectly became stronger when the successful basic attack cooldown was reduced some time ago. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Certain killers can also circumvent the downside by using their special attack to injure the obsession. Well, you see, like, for example, Trickster, like, well, I'm only going to ever down the obsession with knives. That won't be M1ing. To tone it down and make it more consistent across all killers, we made the following changes. Each token grants a stackable 4% decreased successful base attack cooldown. It was 5%. And 2 tokens are lost when the obsession loses a health state by any means. Before it was only by basic attack. That's interesting. So people can't look at the HUD and go, oh, this is my obsession. I'm going to make sure I'm going to use my special attack on them so I don't lose my stacks. Interesting. Grim Embrace. Grim Embrace blocks generators for substantial duration. However, it only activates once and requires the killer to hook every survivor once. It can be a little inconsistent and hard to activate. I don't know the last time I saw somebody use this. Therefore, we're adding a secondary effect on top of the existing effect. The first time a survivor is hooked, all generators are blocked for 12 seconds once the killer moves at least 16 meters from the hook. That's interesting. This will ensure the killer is always able to get some value out of their perk. Stream Dad in real life, thank you for the raid. I hope you had a great stream, Stream Dad. We're just going over these patch notes for Dead by Daylight for the PTB tomorrow. Well, I guess it's not really the patch notes. It's kind of the developer update, a teaser look at it all. This will ensure the killer is always able to get some value out of their perk, even if the last elusive survivor managed to evade them, and reward killers who switch targets. So you're going to be able to block all gens for up to 12 seconds every time you hook somebody. That makes that a lot more viable than what it was, where you were getting no value until you hook that 4th survivor. I'm assuming this means that it's going to, like, push people off of the gens they're working, right? After they move 16 meters away from the hook. So what's the distance you have to go outside of the hook to prevent somebody from getting the camping self-unhook value? Is it 16 meters? You go just far enough away that they aren't getting anti-camp self-unhook progress, and you're getting to stop all the gens. Use that with Scourge. Pain resonance. Quick Gambit. What is this one? This perk grants other survivors a repair speed boost when you are being chased nearby. Oh yeah, I remember that one. However, its range is fairly low, making it difficult to get close enough for other survivors to benefit from without also putting them in danger. We have increased the range to 36 meters. Oh, that's pretty cool. I still don't know what that'll do for the pick rate, but it can't hurt. And we reduced the repair speed bonus to 5% from 8%. Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to give you an uptick on the pick rate of that one, but I appreciate the attempt. What's the verdict on corn on the cob versus corn in the can? Well, I mean, corn on the cob is obviously superior, but, you know, it's seasonal at best. What are you going to do? Hex Ruin. We toned this perk down in a previous update, and in retrospect, since the perk could already be disabled by being cleansed, the added activation condition did not feel necessary. Hex Ruin is no longer disabled once a survivor is killed or sacrificed. So, yeah, I think that's going to definitely increase the pick rate of Ruin. It makes it a lot more valuable, especially on maps where totems are hard to find. Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot more ruin. Might be time to bring back my small game. Shadowborn. Okay, so they have the new field of view sliders that anybody can control. So they have to change these next two perks here. With the new field of view slider being introduced, Shadowborn is now obsolete and needs a new effect because anybody can basically give themselves Shadowborn by increasing their field of view with the slider. When blinded by any means, gain a 10% haste effect for 10 seconds. Holy crap. Lightborn, Shadowborn for the win. Oh my God. Could you imagine? You see some bully squad with like 4 flashlights in the group, and you're like, well, time to put on Lightborn and Shadowborn and slide my FOV. Here we go. Oh my God. Oh wow. Modern abuse. Likewise, the field of view altering effects of modern abuse are now unnecessary, considering the added FOV slider. Modern abuse allows for some interesting niche playstyles as is, so we've simply removed the field of view adjustment from this perk and left the terror radius effects unchanged. Okay, so no real change there at all. Unlimited power! I don't think Shadowborn can work with Lightborn. Why not? Why wouldn't it? Oh, because you wouldn't be blinded. I see. Yeah, you're right. I got you. Since since Lightborn would prevent you from being blinded, you wouldn't gain the haste. I got you. I was thinking simply the attempt. The attempt. Yeah, you're right. Big brains. You're right. Let's see. But you could use it with who can play, right? You get blinded, and then they're blinded, and then you have a boost. You'll see their aura in a wider field. Is the FOV slider going to help people become better killers, or will people not change, or will it not change how people play? I think you're probably going to see a lot of killers take advantage of the slider. It's like a free perk now, right? You could see more stuff going on the sides. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, when they try nurse, it's recommended that they increase their field of view so they can see stuff better. Blights also use field of view. So to get those basically as base kit, when you can use the field of view, it helps those killers in particular. Where's my swamp rework? I am genuinely shocked. I can only assume that they decided that the swamp rework wasn't quite ready and they had to put it on hold. I have no idea what they're doing. Like, how are we revisiting Ormond again? And Swamp's just like, let's just let it go a little longer. The Ormond gameplay update. The newly renovated Mount Ormond Resort is open for the season. This update consists of layout changes to the front and back of the lodge, as well as miscellaneous loop adjustments. The front of the lodge currently has a long row of rocks stretching across it. That was always a strange element on that map for me. This can get in the way and make it difficult to traverse the map. Additionally, there's no room in this portion of the map for any windows or pallets. Yeah, the swap just clearly has no issues. Yeah, that's right. There's no room in this portion of the map for any windows or pallets, essentially making it a big dead zone. Pretty good to hide behind, though. But other than that, we've given this portion of the map an overhaul to create more interesting gameplay. I'm okay with that. I didn't really like that big long rock wall. It would be like here, running all the way here, like from the map of the trails, the ski trails. The back of the lodge, meanwhile, is this the back? Yeah. The back of the lodge, meanwhile, is comprised of mostly picnic tables, great for enjoying a meal in the freezing cold, but not very impactful when it comes to gameplay. Pallet loops around these tables are fairly short, making them incredibly unsafe. We have similarly adjusted this area to improve gameplay. That's interesting. I think it's going to be okay. What did Mojo say? The swamp is so crowded. I don't know. I really, really thought we were going to get new swamp here. especially like when Dave was talking about it on the Reddit Q&A, talking about the other versions of the map, and he's like, I'm glad you remember. And you know, I thought maybe we were gonna not only get a swamp rework, though we might get a new variation too. But all right, here we go. Game modifiers. Whilst these will not be in the upcoming PTB, poop. Our first limited time modifier, Dead by Daylight Lights Out, will be available to play in the coming months. Stay tuned for more information. Congratulations, you reached the end of this long developer update. Everything we mentioned here will be available to test on the public test build starting tomorrow. For more information on the live game changes, please join us in the Dead by Daylight community Discord. Oh, I thought it was a live stream on the 9th, January at 9:30 a.m. Is it what? Are they going to do a Discord live stream? Huh. I thought I was going to have to get up at 9:30 tomorrow and simulcast this. I don't know what that's going to be. As always, we'll take time to read through your feedback and make further adjustments as needed before this update goes live on all platforms in the weeks following. So yeah, it's probably going to come out like on the 30th or 31st? 30th. 31st? What does my calendar say? What is the date? 30th. Maybe now we could spot the golden toolbox. Yeah, I hope so. I missed the generator part. So they're making it so that you can only kick a generator or regress a generator 8 times by any means. It's a Gen Rush life for us. It's a Gen Rush life for us. Set a hiding, we do gens. Set a randoms, we got friends. It's a Gen Rush life.